Time now to take a look at what the French papers are making of their new president so far. Elena Casas, our press reviewer, is here. Elena, what are they saying?
Well, Libération have gone for the rupture as a front page. Remember when Nicolas Sarkozy promised to breathe a rupture with the presidents that had come before him? They say the real break is now. They're talking especially about the change in style between this president and his outgoing predecessor. François Hollande, of course, yesterday drove up the Champs-Élysées in a rather unpresidential-looking hybrid convertible, got soaking wet in passing rain, refused an umbrella even, and spent his time shaking hands in the street with ordinary people who equally didn't have umbrellas and had waited in the rain to see him. Of course, he essentially is still trying to portray himself as President Normal, trying to bring himself down to the same level as the ordinary people who'd hung around in the rain waiting for him, and trying to end, as L'Humanité, the communist paper, puts it on the front page, le bling bling, c'est fini. Hardly needs translating there. He's obviously trying to make as much of a break in style as possible as he can from predecessor Nicolas Sarkozy. The paper points out that in his speech yesterday at the inauguration, when he paid tribute to all of his predecessors, the nicest thing he could find to say about Sarkozy was that he hopes that he enjoys the new adventures in his life, damning rather with faint praise, or indeed no praise at all there. Le Canard enchaîné also puts the rain on its front page of the satirical paper, hardly inaugurated and already soaking wet, but they say you can hardly blame him for trying to change the style of the French presidency, trying to be as down-to-earth as possible after how badly the Sarkozy's bling-bling style went down with the French public.
OK, and of course his choice of Prime Minister was announced yesterday. How has that gone down?
Well, he's on the front page of Les Echos. Jean-Marc Ayrault, who is the calm choice of Prime Minister, is how they put it on their front page. Of course, he's a long-time collaborator of Hollande's, so he's going to make Hollande's life relatively easy. He's unlikely to start opposing him and fighting him on policy points. He's also a former German teacher, of course, which might be very important, the paper points out. He's someone who understands Berlin politics, how it works, and quite literally speaks their language, so that might be an advantage that he has to the president. He's got lots of experience in local politics, 23 years as mayor of Nantes, so that perhaps makes up for how he's never been a minister in the past. Of course, the tough challenge, though, later today for Hollande is to fit all of the Socialist Party's other key figures into the different boxes that will be in his ministerial cabinet. Some of the favourites for cabinet positions are on the front page of Le Parisien today. Some of the Socialist Party's older grandees, Pierre Moscovici, Michel Sapin down here, along with some of the outstanding younger stars of this, possibly of this cabinet. Of course, we don't know if they're in it yet, but Cécile Duflot, leader of the Greens, and Aurélie Filippetti, who's been widely tipped as culture minister, are also on that front page. Hollande, of course, has promised to do an equal amount of men and women in his cabinet, which is not immediately obvious where those women will come from, because there's not a huge amount in his close circle, but that might allow him to bring in some younger, fresher faces into the cabinet. Interestingly, the satirical paper, the Canard enchaîné, has got a rather different cabinet lineup to the rest of the papers. They reckon that Martine Aubry, who was Socialist voters' top pick for Prime Minister, but has a terrible personal relationship with François Hollande, according to the Canard enchaîné, she's rejected the Culture Education Ministry joint post that he'd prepared for her and is insisting on being allowed to go to the Finance Ministry. We'll find out if that's true later. They also reckon that the Mayor of Paris, Bertrand Delanoë, is going to be leaving that job to go over to the Justice Ministry. We'll wait and see.
OK, will be revealed this afternoon. Now, François Hollande, of course, also met with Angela Merkel yesterday. A very important meeting there. How has that gone down with, well, the press here in France and indeed internationally?
Thunder and lightning, but no spark. Of course, there's a ready-made metaphor yesterday, as The Guardian puts it, when Hollande almost had to postpone his trip to Germany as his plane was hit by lightning. They say, of course, it was rather an awkward first date between the two of them, or Merkel had to pull Hollande back into line as he walked across in front of her while they were trying to inspect German troops yesterday. But nevertheless, the two might have personalities that get on rather well, even if he did spend most of his campaign effectively campaigning against her economic policy. As the New York Times puts it, they're both pragmatists, they're both quite calm, not likely to be given to grandstanding on the international stage, and the fact that he actually bothered to come and see her on a second plane after the first one was nearly brought down, maybe that determination is a good sign for their future relationship, the paper says.
Well, we will see. Watch this space. Thanks very much indeed, Elena, for that look at the French and indeed a bit of the international press today.